What's good, Cubers? It's your boy Matt, and today I want to talk about a little pet peeve of mine and a thing that I see wrong in so many cubes, and that is misclassified cards. It's almost like I feel like some players are colorblind, like they think that card is green. That card's not green, and I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about right here. We're going to do it really quick, just an easy way to fix the organization of your cube and maybe even fix its balance. So let's get started. Let's start with an easy one. What color is Marin of Clan Nel Toth? The answer is easy. It's Golgari, right? She's got the black and the green mana symbol. She's Golgari. And I know some of you at home are like, Matt, like, we know we can read. Just stay with me. We're going to get there. Glenalindra is another great example. She's blue, right? She's clearly blue. Blue decks want this card. Black and green decks want the other one. But let me show you something I see all the time in Cube. Now let's talk about something else. What color are these cards? What color is Gitaxian Probe down there at the bottom? Huh? You said blue, you're wrong. That card is not blue. Gitaxian Probe is actually colorless. All Phyrexian mana cards are colorless. But frequently when I see people's cubes list, they have these cards seated in colored slots. Gitaxian Probe is frequently listed with the blue cards, but Gitaxian Probe is not blue. Phyrexian cards can be paid for with life. We see this all the time in the modern format. Right now, everyone is running Surgical Extraction regardless of the colors of that deck because they can pay for it with life rather than mana, which means Gitaxian Probe is more likely to get snagged by the first person who sees it rather than necessarily the person playing blue. Dismember is especially prone to this as it's a really good removal spell that can be played in any deck. As a matter of fact, I've even seen that card played in modern Merfolk decks that are mono blue except for Dismember. Shout out to Nikachu. When you list these cards in the colored section of your cube, you're actually doing that color a disservice. You don't actually have 50 blue cards, you have 49 blue cards. That Gitaxian Probe is going to get played by other players. You don't have 50 black cards, you have 49 black cards. And so when I see people's cube lists, these cards need to be moved to the colorless section so that your cube can be more balanced and there can be more pure blue or pure black, whatever cards in your cube, so that those colors aren't cheated on the cards they can play. Look at this example. What color are these cards? Okay, you probably figured out and you know where I'm going now, but let me just explain. Crystal Shards is blue and Bomat Courier is red. If you aren't in blue, you're not going to be playing Crystal Shards, but I see these cards listed in the colorless sections of cubes all the time. Colorless cards are supposed to be good enough that several colors or even all the colors will want to play them. But Bomat Courier is clearly meant for red aggressive decks. Blue is never going to draft Bomat Courier. Selesnya doesn't want Bomat Courier because to them, Bomat Courier is just a 1/1 hasty creature that is milling their deck into exile that they can never get to. Now I'm not saying you can't splash Bomat Courier in your deck, but if you're splashing it, you're splashing red mana, i.e. you're splashing red, i.e. Bomat Courier is a red card and should be listed with your red 1-drops. No one is going to play Crystal Shards and pay 3 for its tap effect. It's just too expensive. So Crystal Shards is a blue card and should be listed with the blue section of your cube. These are not artifacts, even though they look like they are, and yeah, I know, they are. But when you organize your cube, you need to make sure you're listing them with the color that they belong with. Otherwise, you're creating imbalance because there are technically more red or more blue cards in your cube, which pushes your drafters gently towards those colors because there's more choices there. Let's look at another example. What about Academy Ruins? Academy Ruins is a colorless land. Anybody could draft it, anyone could play it. They could, but they're not going to. Only the blue player wants Academy Ruins, which means even though it's a land, I would still list it with the blue cards in my cube. Red players are not going to play this. No one wants generic colorless mana, and if they do, there are better cards to include for it. They might as well just play artifacts. So, Academy Ruins, even though it's a land, should still be listed in the blue section of your cube. And if Academy Ruins is in your cube, you might want to think about including lands for the other colors in your cube. I'm not saying that you have to, but balance suggests that maybe you should, and that's something else to think about. Okay, so I see the card on the left misclassified in cubes all the time. Soulfire Grandmaster. What color is this card? Well, actually, it's 3 colors, right? It's Jeskai. It's white and blue, or it's white and red, but you'll notice that it's not blue and red. It can't be, is it? So this is a Jeskai card. You have to have at least 2 of the colors, and one of them has to be white. But I see this card listed in the mono white section of cubes all the time. You need to understand that if you're running Soulfire Grandmaster, that you are making Jeskai, that particular color combination, a little better than all the other combinations. And you're going to want to make Izzet players splash Soulfire Grandmaster, and as a result, steal other white spells. This punishes players who are on Boros or on Azurius, and it also punishes Orzhov players because there's one less white card for them to pick from inside the cube. So you have to think that when you include the Soulfire Grandmaster, that this card is not mono white and needs to be classified in its own shard. Now, I'm not telling you have to run a card in each shard. I do, and I'm not entirely happy with the results, but you need to understand that technically your cube is not balanced. The same thing applies to Yasova Dragonclaw. This is a teamer card. It's Simic or it's Gruul, but it's not Izzet, which again forces one player who drafts Yasova to try and draft into the other colors, which is going to cheat players in other colors out of choices. It also means the Golgari player, for them, Yasova is just a dead card that they have to pass on. So, again, this card is not green, but I see it slotted into the green sections of cubes all the time. That's wrong. Yasova Dragonclaw is teamer, and you should categorize her in her own slot. Now, the same thing applies to Yasova that applies to the Grandmaster. I'm not saying you have to have a card for every shard, but you should list Yasova separately with the teamer cards and give the green player one extra card. Fill in Yasova's slot and move her to a shard to help even out your cube. Our last example is actually the trickiest, so let's look at them separately. Najeela the Blade Blossom. What color is she? I know you think that I'm going to say that she's a Wooburg creature, that she's white, blue, black, red, and green, but I would actually classify Najeela the Blade Blossom as a red card, and I'm going to tell you why. Look at her text. Whenever a warrior attacks, you may have its controller create a 1/1 white warrior creature token that's tapped and attacking. Then for Wooburg, you can untap all attacking creatures. They gain trample, lifelink, and haste until the end of turn, and after this phase there's an additional combat phase. Activate this ability only during combat. The thing with Najeela is her primary purpose in cube is to swing in and make that 1/1 white token. The Wooburg side of her, you're not really playing her for that. You're never going to get that effect. And so, because you're very seldom going to get that effect, Najeela is de facto a red creature. Her Wooburg cast is just a happy accident that might happen occasionally, but more often than not, she's only going to be swinging in and making a 1/1. Jodah, on the other hand, is a Wooburg creature, even though his casting cost is Jeskai. Look at his text. Flying, you may pay Wooburg rather than pay the mana cost for spells that you cast. Jodah's primary function is a way to cheat gigantic spells into play. You're playing Jodah so that you can pay the Wooburg cost and cast giant spells, which means even though he's Jeskai in his casting cost, his function, his primary role is the Wooburg role, where you're going to be paying all that mana and trying to drop Nicobolus Godpharaoh on turn 4 or 5. So, Jodah is a Wooburg creature, but Najeela is a red creature. And I see Najeela classified with red in cube most of the times. That's where she belongs. But I didn't want you to move her out of her section because of what I've said about these other cards, which are almost always misclassified. Okay, guys, we're all good now. I'm going to get down off of my soapbox and put it away for a little bit. What cards do you see people misclassifying cubes? Let me know in the comments below. And I just wanted to... Wait, what's that? You want me to mention the Twitter? We're on Twitter now? Ugh, you kids and your new generational things. I was still on MySpace till like a week ago. We're on Twitter now. Be sure to check us out at @CubeFor2 on Twitter. I hear it's cool. Check my MySpace page. You can't lie on there. Hit the like and subscribe button below. And until next time, as always, shuffle up, keep cubing, my friends.